And we're live. Welcome to Office Hours with Arrow, a LinkedIn Live event hosted by Arrow leaders who care about what senior living looks like. I'm your host and producer, Rachel Sheehan, and today with me, I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite teams because they feed me. So I would love for you guys to introduce yourself. Cruz, this is your first time on. Tell us who you are and what community you're at.
My name is Cruz Mesa, and I'm the culinary director at the Wellington Senior Living in Liberty, Missouri.
Love it. Awesome. And Sarah, your first time guest too.
First time. My name is Sarah Bowler, the regional culinary coordinator for the state of Missouri, also Kansas and Illinois.
Awesome. And Christine, you've been here before, but tell us who you are.
My name is Christine. I am the regional culinary coordinator for the regions of Ohio, Michigan, Arkansas, and Iowa. I hope I got them all.
Yeah. There's a lot. You all
Our
do a
wings
lot.
are spread very wide. Yes,
I love it.
We love it.
Very cool. So I want each of you to tell me, because we're talking about 12 Days of Christmas today, and we'll get into what that means for us at Arrow, but I would like you to each tell me what your favorite 12 days is, either from the song or the dish, why it's your favorite. Cruz, do you have one?
I do. My favorite would be the first one, which is the partridge in the pear tree,
Cool.
because I like to challenge myself and pair sweet items with savory dish. So
Cool.
one of the times what I did was it was a pear and gorgonzola pizza with like caramelized onions and arugula,
Ooh.
and they loved it.
Wow, that is really cool because I wouldn't have thought of that. I feel like most of the time it is the pear salad or pear dessert or something,
Yep.
and that's really cool.
Pear pizza.
I would take a couple of those.
Yeah, for sure.
Most
Would
definitely.
eat that. That's what I'm saying. Christine, what's your favorite?
I have to go with day 8. This has been, for the last 2 years we've been doing this, I always get the milkshake challenge, and it is, I don't know, it just kind of like, I love milkshakes, I guess.
I was
But
going to say
it's
that
one of those
too,
things.
because
Yeah,
milkshakes are just
true.
so good. Such a good treat.
It's one of
That's
those things that you can be so out of the box and creative with that I think that that's what makes me, I don't know, the most excited about it. I did a corn cookie milkshake two or 3 years ago, whenever it was, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's going to be so weird." And then when everybody tried it, they're like, "Oh, I get it. It's like a sweet cornbread dessert, kind of like with ice cream." It was exciting. So it's kind of carried through for me.
Very cool. Sarah, how about you?
My personal favorite, for 2 different reasons, is the 12th day, drummers drumming. 1, because I am a drummer. I've been a drummer since I'm about 12 years old. And
yes.
And 2, I am a baker, pastry chef by trade. That's what I went to school for. But breadsticks and making breadsticks is actually extremely challenging. And so this was a fun challenge to kind of show the skills and kind of get the rust off a little bit. I haven't delved into pastry and baking in a minute, but it was fun to kind of jump into that. So
sure couldn't tell when we were cooking together, Sarah. All of a sudden these breadsticks just appeared and I was like, wow.
It was a frustrating hour, and then when it was done, I was like, gorgeous.
Riding a bike, right? You never forget.
I also think if any of our resident services directors are listening, they should book Sarah to drum on Drummers Day, and that would be so fun. That is awesome.
Taking requests. I'll take requests.
Very cool. Awesome. So I do want to go back a little bit to where this challenge began. So is this the second full year or third year?
Third, I think.
Third. Okay. Because back in my day, I have to say, I am at fault for having us all do this, but it's so fun and worth it. So back when it was actually COVID times, Sarah and I were in the same community actually, and we were trying to spread cheer, to each apartment at the time, and so I had carts of 12 Days of Christmas with like little snacks on them. So it'd be like, ice cream drumsticks, nothing culinary. You don't want me cooking. So, that's how it kind of inspired the idea for this. And I think it's so cool what you guys have done with it because you've just elevated, like Cruz was saying, like, I would have never thought to put pear on pizza or flatbread or whatever. So, that's kind of where it started. But I think now I would love for you guys to tell us what exactly is the 12 days experience as it is now in our communities. If anybody wants to chime in.
Yeah, I can go first. My first year, so we just opened August of 2022, and I opened as a culinary director, and I literally started, had no staff, residents moving in every day, 10, 12, 15 at a time. And then they're like, you have to do XYZ. So I was just like, okay, let's do it. So it's blossomed from what it was, at least when I started, to what it is now. Before we were kind of left to our own devices, do whatever we wanted to do. And then we got a little help with a survival guide. And then they were like suggestions, like maybe you should do this or that for this day or this or that for that day. And then now I believe this year we actually have kind of like a cheat sheet of like what's going on every day. So it makes it's a lot more organized, a lot more organization. So I feel like throughout the years it's blossomed and it's just, gotten better every year and easier for at least us culinary directors to do it. Because in the beginning it was just me doing everything because I had my staff responsible for doing the day to day, working the line, doing the prep and all that stuff. And I was responsible for doing the 12 days of Christmas plus whatever food we had for this 46, 47 days of cheer.
Yeah, 36 this year, don't add another one, Cruz. Come on.
Last year there was more.
Yeah. Cruz is like, I'm going to 13 days of Christmas. But, he loves it so much. So, yeah.
I think it's so cool that, Rachel, just like how you said, we went from doing this on carts during the time of COVID and it just increased. That's so true. It has evolved into so much more than what we originally started this with and what we really thought was going to happen with this. It was just like, hey, this is something fun. We're doing something different during COVID. And this has turned into just something that we plan for almost all year. And then these final little touches we kind of get to put together. The regional team came up with this cheat sheet this year that I think has really helped culinary directors navigate through everything. But it's really cool because it identifies every single piece that we are responsible for. And it's all the fun ones. It's, in my opinion, the best parts.
Very true. And it's been really cool to watch it. I mean, with me and Rachel in that same building in 2020.
Yeah.
From that point. Even whenever she would bring that cart back and they had just started it, you could tell this is something different. This was something special. This was something that broke the mold because that was a dark time and where everybody was stuck to their rooms. There was nothing. There was no cheer. So it was definitely an unexpected glitter bomb of cheer and emotion, and it really connected with our residents at St. Charles Boulevard at that time. And then, at that time, it kind of passed. We went to the next year, and we had moved on to different buildings and things of that nature, and we kind of got the word, oh, we're going to do this again. Okay, cool. We did it that year, and then over that time, over the next year passing, what was cool about it was watching the residents asking for it. Oh, what's this year's 12 days going to be about? So it's something that they get invested in. It's something that they look forward to. It's something that really lightens their spirits and really brings them a lot of joy at this time. So it's fun for us. So it's a good way for us to get our creativity out. It's a good way for the residents to kind of have something special. This is our Christmas spirit. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah. And I do want to touch on what you said about it was a dark time then, because I think also now, like, winter can be such a hard time for anybody, especially our residents who their traditions may have changed. And so this is a new tradition for them. Or sometimes maybe they just came back from the holidays, and we all know how it can be being around your family for a while. So, maybe they need this little pep in their step. And so I think that's what's really cool is exactly they're looking forward to it each day. So, that talked a little bit about the purpose of 12 days, but I want to touch on that a little bit more. Do each of you maybe have some perspective you want to share about like why we do the 12 days of Christmas?
Well, like you guys said, it's meaningful for the residents. It's for the holidays, like you said, put a little pep in their step, give them some cheer. But it's also, my view is like for the staff. So like culinary directors, we have set menus, recipes we have to follow, things we have to prep every day. And for me, the 12 days of cheer breaks that monotony and lets us spread our wings and fly and get creative and do whatever we want to do. And then, if a resident likes it, then maybe we can put it on a brunch item one Sunday when we do our brunches and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I love that. Christine, Sarah, anything to add?
Sarah makes such a good point too, that it can be a not great time for people. Just because we're all in love with Christmas, and well, many of us are, it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing for everybody. And I guess that's something I've reflected on over the last couple of years. When we started doing candlelight dinners on Valentine's Day, it was such a great point that this isn't about us not being able to be with our loved ones on Valentine's Day. It's all about our residents and not necessarily being able to be with their family, but we can bring that light to them and really bring the joy that I think some people really need during this time of year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Also, I'm really big on competition, and I'm really big on sparking that within my staff. And I'll lay it out flat. Hey guys, this is what's coming up. We start on Christmas Day. These are our suggestions. This is what to go by. But what do you have? Do you have any better ideas? Okay, we're going to do turtle parfaits on this day. How are we going to execute it? What is this going to look like? Or I throw it to my sous chef. I say, hey, sous chef, I want you to shine on this day, this day, and this day. These are your days, and I want you to take it. I'll put your name on it and everything. So it's good. It's good for them. I like to have my cooks even go out and they're the ones that are passing on the things that they've made, instead of, oh, the servers can take it, and oh, that's the dessert of the day, whatever. It's very good connection, and it's good for our cooks, our chefs to grow. It's good for them to be proud of something. So I really use 12 days as a tool for that.
Yeah. And then one other thing I want to touch on too is, like, whenever I train my staff and I explain to them, I said, one thing you have to understand is you work where they live. They don't come to where you work.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. And that's something like, they eat primarily at our restaurants, right? They live there and they're eating. So you have to keep it creative and fun. And I love spending time with Culinary Team because I think you guys do have that heart for competition and being creative. And it's just so cool. I have the pleasure of looking at every single Facebook post we make. And so I get to see every single dish that's made, and just the creativity and carefulness and thoughtfulness that goes into each dish is really cool. So I love
It's
that.
really fun to see what all of our different culinary directors, their spin on everything is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go back again to my favorite day 8, and our milkshake challenge day. It was a great idea that we have a competition between the sous chef and whoever else wants to compete against them in a milkshake challenge. So it's so neat to see really what they come up with and the ways that they think outside of the box. It's pretty neat to see all come together.
I love it. Yeah. And Cruz, I want you to tell us a little bit about that real life experience, from your residents and how they react. I know we've talked about like, oh, they look forward to it, but is there any experience you want to share about what the process is like, how staff and residents react?
Yeah, stuff like Sarah said, you kind of ignite a fire in them, and again, that breaks from the monotony of the day. They also get to get creative and try something new, challenge them, or stay in their comfort zone. And like, if Sarah was a baker, I would like, hey, these are bake items we need to do. I'll let you handle that. I'll take care of the savory stuff. But then also for me, like, you put all this attention and time and effort into making these dishes, it goes out and you don't know what to expect. You don't know if they're going to be foodies and be like, oh, let me try this. But all it takes is one person. One person orders it, it goes out. And I've seen it firsthand as I wait to look at other residents' faces when they see that resident's reaction when they eat it. Then they're like, I'll try that.
Yeah.
But it really, we can go
Total snowball effect.
We can go 30 minutes into service and not one person will order it. And then that one person orders it. And then everybody else sees it. They're like, I'm going to try that. And then we're just selling order after order after order after order.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And Christine and Sarah, you obviously, you're still helping out in communities and things like that. So do you have anything you want to share?
I think it's just always really neat that the staff, they kind of grumble at it maybe at first because it seems like it's a lot of work, but man, then when you go into it, they're just like, look what this person came up with, and look at this is such a good idea. It's really fun to see all that come together. The staff really does get excited about it, and it's so nice for them to be able to showcase their own talents and completely, made up ideas from, you know, their own brain instead of, you know, here, this is what you're going to make. This is what, you know, there's a lot of talent there, and they really knock it out of the park every time they're met with one of those challenges.
Yeah, it's fun to be in person and kind of step by and see it and actually see the execution of everything and how they're going about it in the individual way. So whenever I'll stop by Boulevard Wentzville and I'll see, okay, this is how you guys are putting together your pear salad. And then I go down the street to St. Charles Boulevard and they're doing the pear pizza or something. And so it's just to kind of see, and or even they'll all do a pear salad and all three of them look different, which is very cool. So I like watching, you know, kind of the thought process and how they kind of go about it. Everything can be done in 1,000 different ways. So it's cool to see it in person.
So true.
Yeah, the way I see it is like that show Chopped, where everybody gets a market basket. They get all the same ingredients, but everybody makes a different dish out of all the same ingredients.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's what I think it is. It's kind of that camaraderie between culinary directors from different regions and things like that, because you do get to compare and, you know, you could ask each other what's going on or what's your plan for this. And that's what I think is awesome about having regional team to support you too. Is really cool. But I do want to show too, we had something special this year, first year, that we did this, but we did all of our regionals got together from the culinary team and did a little crazy. I mean, I was not there, so I'll let you guys talk about it. Actually, just tell everybody what did you guys do?
We went Christmas crazy in, was it the first week of October?
Yeah.
Yeah. We finally all got together. The first time that the entire regional culinary team has ever been in the same, even really state at the same time. So it was a really special time, but we did a photo shoot and we all divvied up our dishes for the 12 days and we had some photos taken of our food.
Yeah.
I think it was like 1,200 pictures taken over 8 hours or something like that. It was, and we whittled it down to like a 50, and then I think ended up on the calendar. But it was a long day. You know, we got in there, we had to cook everything before the photo shoot even started, but it was so cool. And
we had such a fun time.
It was probably my favorite experience so far as an Aero regional and getting us all together. And actually, I had never cooked with Brian before. I had only seen Humberto in passing. I hadn't actually cooked with him. So to get a bunch of chefs, and we're all at least 20 years into this industry, together to kind of work together and actually, like, you know, we're kind of like fighting for space. And it was a very fun time.
That's like the good old days. Like, can we still remember how to do this?
Yeah.
I think we got this.
Yeah. And that's what actually Alyssa, who's also regional with y'all, cooking in one kitchen was a blast. So yeah, I think that's so fun because normally you just see each other on Zoom and that's that. But I do want to show, so what we do as part of our Aero Cheer is we have this flip calendar. Every day the residents in the communities, you know, flip to the next page, and that's what we're doing that day as part of our cheer. And so with the 12 days, these are kind of the photos that came up so that everyone watching can get a visual. But there's like,
that was Humberto's salad that he made.
Beautiful.
That was Alyssa's turtle parfait.
I love it.
Oh yeah, that was Brian's chicken salad.
Chicken 3 ways. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
chicken 3 ways.
That's Christine's.
Beautiful.
Brian's. Yeah, man, that was a cool to put.
Brian makes the best onion rings like on the planet. It's so annoying because he and I have this very opinionated thought about onion rings, and Brian thinks they should be crispy and I think they should be battered. Don't tell him. I hope he's not watching because his onion rings are the best crispy onion rings I've ever had in my life. It's ridiculous. And so I'll give him that one. Those are better than most onion.
That's awesome.
They're really good.
And who made this one?
That's Alyssa's hat.
That was Alyssa.
Oh, that looks so good. They all look so good.
That's
Humberto again.
The milkshakes.
I did a blood orange chocolate and then a white chocolate peppermint Grinch shake.
Very cool. It looks so good. Oh, and here
there's Sarah's fruitcake.
Fruitcake, traditional, and that is I soaked the fruit in dark rum and everything, so it was really traditional fruitcake, and I had never made a
So
specific
good.
traditional step-by-step fruitcake before, and it turned
And
out amazing.
Sarah, I hope you
It
save me a
was-
piece because I've never had fruitcake, but that looks really good. But I've been afraid because people say about
Right, how
fruitcake.
terrible it is. This
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And I really think like Sarah she's a baker. She knows how to bake this. Like, that was my favorite thing that I saw coming out. I mean, her breadsticks too. I won't give all that away, but
And
oh my
it's weird
gosh.
to say, but most fruitcakes are like dense. That
Yeah.
looks fluffy.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I had to search for the right fruit mix, and I
banana bread or whatever. So very moist. I love
Yeah.
it. And then
It was delicious.
that was Greg's a
Oh.
fizzy navel, his strangle.
Yeah.
that's fun. Oh, that looks so good.
Sarah's cannolis. That's right.
Cannolis.
That too.
Oh my gosh.
That was
And
the
then the
labor.
last one.
They are.
There's the famous breadsticks.
Breadsticks. I
Yeah,
love
I think everybody had.
Sure.
By the
You
end
know,
of the
you
day.
guys, this is right at the time of lunch, and I'm so hungry, and I miss being in a community where I could eat delicious food that Sarah whipped up for me. And I'm gonna have to, 12 days. If anybody watching, you know the days now. It starts on Christmas, so pop into a community near you to try a dish that the culinary directors come up with, because I'm excited, especially to see what Cruz comes up with, because I know this is 2
Same.
years in the making. He is just ready to go.
I know.
That is so fun. So if
Fun
you
on all stops.
so if you had a piece of advice to somebody wanting to try this in their community, what would you suggest? Each person, Cruz, do you have something you want to share?
I would say like have a good staff that you would trust for one, because there's times where you won't be here for things to be executed, so you want to make sure they get executed properly. And then mise en place, just prep. Like Sarah said, she would come in and talk to her staff and go over who's going to do what it's going to look like, how they're going to execute it, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's important because the 12 days goes over the weekends too,
Yes.
and you're not there 24/7 as much as everyone would love for you to be. You can't do it all, right? So
Correct.
great
And
advice.
then most of all, have fun with it.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
awesome.
That's probably the most important.
Yeah.
keep that in the forefront of your mind to have fun with this always, because this is for the joy. It's for the residents. It's not something to be seen as. It's not a burden. This is how we can get our creativity out and do some fun challenges.
Yeah.
What I suggest to somebody else that
I'm
wants
a
to
firm believer that when you make food happy, it tastes good. And if
Mhm.
you're upset and grumpy and you make something, you can taste it in the food.
Yep, that's what my chefs in school actually taught me. That was it's funny, as all technical as it can be, and you actually go into professional level school, that's still what they tell you. If you cook with your heart and you cook with love, it shows. So
Yeah.
But for communities jumping into this for the first time, the thing that I would suggest the most is, I know, it might be around Halloween, it might be, months ahead. We know what's coming. This is something that we've done years and years. So plan. So we start planning. Most of my directors start planning in October for this. So they get ready. They understand what's coming. We kind of, as it kind of progresses, we see like the final plans of, on this day, this is what we want. On this day, this is what we want. Okay, we lock it in. We get all of our product in, and we assign days to people. So whether it be, the weekend or a Saturday and you're not here, that's your sous chef's day. Or whether it's a Sunday and you're not here, that's your dining room manager's day. Everybody can have a day where, I love to give that responsibility to somebody so they can shine, to give the staff the opportunity to show their skill set. So,
Yeah.
And just like the Cruz and Sarah both said, planning properly and proper delegation, you can make anything happen, including this. And you can make it happen, and it's a really fun, cool thing to watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, we got to feed our residents anyway. We got to cook anyway, right? So make it fun and have something special for the day. And I will say too, for anybody listening who's not a culinary director or culinary team member, I do this at home for my family too. It's just a fun way to spice it up. I mean, it does not look that pretty at all. And sometimes it's like a little treat I bought that fit the theme instead. But, doing it just to make different kind of meals at home, I think that helps everyone. So definitely feel like you can do this and adapt it. And if anybody listening wants to know, listed out what our 12 days are, and the dishes that we are inspiring or using to inspire our culinary directors, reach out in the comments or message me and we can get you that list so that you can do it along with us. But any other thoughts, Cruz, Christine, Sarah? I'm so excited. We got a couple weeks still, till this starts.
It's
We're
December.
still already starting. We've got brunch with Santa coming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're getting ready for that's even just beyond the 12 days, which is really exciting too.
Yeah, I mean, we all just had our tree lightings. Cruz, how did yours go?
Oh, it went well. Yeah, we had a lot of vendors here. I like this year. We actually, I'm gonna joke, but last year we just did like the Griswolds, two kind of cores put together and just light the tree. This year we had a switch and it was a little bit more fancy. We had a nice little switch. The light turned on. It was awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. There's not a party without food, so that's what I love about the culinary team with these holiday events. Is you just bring a whole spread of good food with you. Sarah, were you going to add to?
Yeah, I came out to the Boulevard Wentzville's, and I mean, I got to pet a reindeer. I got to sit on Santa's lap.
Yeah.
It was a good time. The little foods that we had, a whole charcuterie spread. It took the whole countertop. That's probably 8 feet long. So it was a nice little thing that we did. We had a hot chocolate bar. The kids we have a daycare, something like preschool kids are next door. So they all came over, they sang carols, to memory care, to assisted living, came over to independent living neighborhood. So it was a very festive time, and the big switch and everything, that was a lot of fun this year. So it was cold, but it was a good time.
Yeah. And you can't forget themed happy hours that you guys do too. Like tomorrow is Marshmallow World. So
tomorrow's one of my favorites.
Check the Wellington page, see what Cruz comes up with for that too.
Stay tuned.
I've got some pictures of marshmallows come through to me that I am stoked to see the rest of these. If they're anything like what I've gotten already, a little sneak preview of, this is going to be pretty cool.
That's so exciting. Awesome.
Who doesn't love marshmallows?
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. This was so fun. You're making me so hungry as always. Next week, we are going to talk traditions and all of our traditions planning for 2025 and why we do traditions. So definitely join for that. But culinary.
Thanks, Rachel.
So much. This was so fun. And I cannot wait to see what you come up with.
Yeah,
so
thanks for
Well, I'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.